going on, YouTube? Brendan from Market Makers. This is your Sunday market preview. Bitcoin is still sitting on its rear end. It has not moved yet. Let's go ahead and go over the other markets as well before they open up tonight in pre-markets. And when can we see this Bitcoin wave up? Let's talk about that. But first, let's look at the conditions for the wave up for Bitcoin. Guys, if you want to come trade with us, hit that join button right underneath our video. You will love our Discord trading room, education, trade signals, fantastic community. Come check us out with that join button, full integration into YouTube. And guys, trading our crypto on BITGET, link in the video description, no KYC, $4,000 in bonuses. Let's start off here on the DXY. Condition is green for go. We are ready to rip. We have the conditions to rip. We have a weaker US dollar, which is always good for crypto, good for equities in distribution, fell out of our Wyckoff trading range, back tested our support there at 102.5. And as you can see, the DXY was just falling. Let's go ahead and look at the Nasdaq. Guys, this particular chart, if this trade sets up, I'm showing this to you here, and you'll have this trade in our room as well. The Nasdaq, highest correlation to Bitcoin ever in Bitcoin's history this year. This is a beautiful trade setup. These are Gann fans from the all-time high, Gann resistance line. I'm really focusing here on my trend-based fib, right here at the one at 13,815. That is about 1,100 points higher than where we currently are. Let me explain a couple of things about this real quick because this affects Bitcoin. This is a golden rectangle. Look at the proportions. We basically have 1618 and 618. Okay, this is a golden rectangle, a harmonic structure. If price can reach 13,815, this is an area of peak resistance. You have the 233, you have a Gann line, you have the 1 fib, a 100% retracement from the move. This would be an awesome short, and I'm showing it to you guys here right now. But also, let's look at something else that's happening in all the indexes, guys. The title of this video is Sell the Rip. These markets are ripping up. These are classic bear rallies. Let me show you what's happening here in the markets. If you look at your volume here on the Nasdaq, okay, look at your candles, look at the volume. So you see these last two volume bars. This big green candle is the smallest volume bar in trend. You see that? The one before it is a big green candle, smaller than the previous candle, but larger volume. And then, of course, the one before that, even bigger volume bar, but very small real body. And on top of that, guys, all of them are below the 21 EMA moving average. You see that? Below average volume, price is rising. This is volume divergence. Best thing is this isn't even oversold yet. Okay, this isn't even oversold yet, so this can still rise. Volume divergence. This is weak hands in the market. This is algos. This is retail paying higher prices for assets, but there's no velocity behind the move. So the first key test here on the Nasdaq is a 618 at 12,927, and then watch 13,815. If we come up here, if we come up here and this forms a top and starts to roll over, my next broadcast may be from a yacht, okay? So I'm just saying this will be an excellent trade if it comes up here, okay? And I'm going to give you guys the platform to trade it on. I'll be releasing that video as well for that platform. You can trade commodities and equities as well as Forex and cryptos, okay? So I'll be putting that out there this week. And let's look at the Nasdaq here on the 8-hour, another way to look at it. You can see the 8-hour. We are coming up to that 618, a key test. There's your 144 moving average as well. Broke out of the Wyckoff trading range, as you can see. Could meet resistance, roll over. If we can hold the 618, that could be our next move up. We could get there in a week. 1,100 points really just depends on how much, how bullish these markets are this upcoming week, okay? So if we go ahead and look at this as well, turn my brightness back up. Look at this on the SPX. Let's look at the volume diver. Look at the SPX. You can see, look at these two giant candles. Look at this big blue candle, the biggest candle in trend for price action. You see that? The biggest candle in trend. And then look at the volume bar for it. Look how tiny that volume bar is. Massive volume divergence. My target here for the S&P, it already passed the 618, is 43.43 at the 1 fib. Again, a 100% retracement from the move. Your 200 and 233 are higher higher up. Let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin on our weekly chart, guys, what has changed? Not much. We still have these little baby blue red candles. We are rounding off for a bottom here, looking at it on the weekly, and I am still looking for that wave up. Now, this is important. The reason I'm tying these equity markets together for you is if Bitcoin doesn't get off its rear end and move up, you have a realistic probability these equity markets, depending how bullish they can stay next week, if they open red, that's bad, okay? If they can stay bullish next week and make more progress, Bitcoin needs to move because they're going to hit key resistance and they're going to find a top. And if they start to roll down and Bitcoin is still sitting here just accumulating, going sideways, that's bad. Remember the correlation with the Russell and with Nasdaq with tech, okay? So you're on a clock, and that clock is going to run out of time if Bitcoin doesn't start moving. Now here on the daily, you can see we're just passing through our Gann resistance. This is the Gann resistance from the all-time high, these lines coming down, okay? So we have this channel to work with. We can move up in here, and of course you can break any resistance line. Obviously this is my weekly target, the 40,645. That's what I would like to see hit, but descending is your 144, descending is your 233 and your 200 on the daily time frame, okay? Then we start looking at the resistances. You throw Ichi on here, you throw our VWAP strategy on here, see where the heavy selling pressure lines are coming in at. They're right up here at the 200 and 233. So we need to start moving. And you have Ichi, your cloud's up here higher, right? Your cloud, you're not even near it. You have this gap, which is why we look at the smaller time frames to see where you could rise up to. Obviously the 618 at 34,798 is still a target as well, okay? You look at this on the 8 hour, you can see you're doing what we talked about the other day, walking up this Gann line, right? You want to be able to walk up this line, not pass through it, not fall through it like we did here and start waving sideways again. You want to walk up the line, hopefully get out, exit, build a base, and move up and utilize this channel to hit targets, okay? Because here on the 8 hour, your 144, your 233, and your 200 are all descending as well. Looking at our indicators, look at that volatility compression. Remember, just like with Bollinger Bands, Keltner channels, expansion, price movement. Compression is the compression before a move. If we look at our ATR, look how deep this is descending, okay? The ATR hasn't gone this deep since way over here, since 2020. December 2020 is the last time the ATR was this deep, okay? The markets are pretty dead. There's not a lot of activity. Volatility is low. You can get an explosion here, guys. We need to get an explosion here for a move up and hit some targets, okay? Again, we are on a clock, so hopefully we can get some movement soon. Let's go ahead and move forward. Looking at the 4 hour, the 200 and 233, we spent a video going over these targets, why they're so important in a descending market in a 4 hour time frame, and looking at where they are now at 32,991. So as these descend, guys, this is your first real test. Also notice I have my zigzag channel here lined out. You can see we're utilizing the bottom of the zigzag channel to move up. Want to move up, got to get out of this trading range, make a base and move up. And this is right now at your 0.5, okay, a key fib retracement. So this is your first test. If you can flip it and move up, we can look at those higher targets. If you do not flip this, then this would be a very short potential rally. Maybe get a couple candles up, roll over, make some type of shape, a double top or something, roll back down, or a Bart Simpson pattern and roll back down, and you could be on your way to making a new low. So this is really critical to see and really critical to test. Let's see where we are here on the markets, okay? So looking at this strong volatility compression, look at the volume. The volume is like non-existent. Look at these little white candles. Non-existent volume. This is your moving average. You see this? Nothing is even above the moving average for a period of candles here. So this is just very flat. This is why your volatility is dropping, ready for a move, but we got to get that move. That move must come in. Let's look at our VWAP strategy here on the 4 hour time frame to see where the heavy supply lines are at. and you can see it's right on almost all the time frames, your heaviest supply line for selling. Remember, this is a VWAP strategy. This is multiple VWAPs. I think it's 5 different period lengths, okay? So this is your heaviest supply line selling. It's right above your 200 and 233, which makes sense. So this area is going to be a lot of resistance if we can pump up to it between the 0.5 and the 618 at 34,798, the 0.5 at 32,991. But we got to exit the trading range. You know, because we're so volatile in crypto, realize what you could have happen, right? Looking at the Nasdaq, what you could end up doing, you could have the Nasdaq go up, you know, at some point maybe it rolls over some, takes a pause and goes back up again, and then makes a top and then starts to decline. While this process is going on, Bitcoin may just sit there and accumulate. And then as it starts to make a top or roll over, because Bitcoin moves so much faster, you may get your breakout, find your resistance, and start falling down. I mean, you could have that whole process start while the Nasdaq is just doing its normal process of moving up, resistance, rolling over, moving up, resistance, falling apart, right? So it is a possibility. But again, if you see the Nasdaq, if it starts to move next week and really starts pumping up and Bitcoin's still going sideways, I start to worry some. I do. I start to worry some because Bitcoin that is tied so closely to Nasdaq because it's representative of tech, right? Digital tech. And that's where Bitcoin's been tracking to. And it was dislocated from the Nasdaq on this recent pump up. Bitcoin's still flat, Nasdaq Russell pumped, okay? So it's been dislocated, but not in a positive way, in a negative way. We need it to rally with the indexes. If it doesn't rally with the indexes, there's a chance that Bitcoin's rally could be very weak or that it could just be very fast, which again could mean that it's weak. It pumps up to a certain level, maybe 32,991 or 34,798, and then rolls back down again while this is going through its longer duration process. All of these are possibilities, guys. Another video coming out tomorrow. I'll get that video out earlier so you can see what's happening in the marketplaces. Watch the Nasdaq. If you wake up in the morning, turn on CNBC, turn on business news, Fox Business, whatever. If you're in a different country, turn on Sky or BBC. See what the markets are doing. Are they green or are they red? And then look at Bitcoin, okay? All right, guys. Have a fantastic Sunday night. Another video coming tomorrow.